So when you're an executor, executrix, or administrator, you have a responsibility to the house because the house is part of the estate, especially if there's no one living there and you need to winterize. So how do you do it? Stick around and find out. Hi, I'm Bill Eves. I work primarily with estate sales in the Northeast Philadelphia, Lower Bucks area. And I want to tell you a few tips for winterizing to kind of make it easy on you. So the first thing is a shopping list. You're going to want to get a garden hose, a bucket, an adjustable wrench, a Phillips screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and I always bring channel locks. It's like MacGyver and duct tape. I don't go anywhere without it. Whenever you're talking about water, it's a great idea to bring towels, paper towels, stuff like that. Another thing on your shopping list should be RV or marine antifreeze. It's not that expensive. It's about $2, $3, maybe $4 a jug. It's sold at Home Depot. A lot of places have it. It's not the stuff you put in cars. Don't bring that. You don't want that anywhere near the inside of a house, and plumbing and stuff like that. You want to bring plastic food wrap, believe it or not, saran wrap. And you want Jubilee clamps. They're also called hose clamps. So first things first, shut off the main water, which is usually found right next to the water meter, which is normally on the lowest floor of the house in the front. If it's a well, it'll be on whatever wall is closest to the well. There won't be a meter to look for, but that's still where it should be. So the main shutoff valve, cut the water to the house. So if you have a hot water tank, you want to shut off the flow to the hot water tank. There's cold coming in, hot going out. You want to shut that flow off. When it's time to drain it, you're going to look at the very bottom. There's a spigot down there. You'll put the hose on. You may need to clamp it, and that's how you drain it. Drain it outside of the house if at all possible. Whatever you do, don't run it into the sump pump. It's not the way to drain. If the house is in an area with hard water, you're going to have a water softening system, most likely. You don't have to drain the salt tank, but make sure the water is below the level of the salt. Make sure the salt doesn't rise above, the water doesn't rise above the salt. Follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to pump, how to clear the pump and separate it from the rest of the apparatus and store that in a warm place. You don't want that break-in. You do not need an added expense and a last-minute problem when you're selling an estate home. Now you want to kill the power to any pump, such as a boiler or a hot water tank or a softener. You can usually do that at the breaker box, flip the switches. Now that the water's shut off, we can start draining. Open up all the spigots, all the faucets, flush the toilets. Every toilet, you want to flush it. Once the water stops running, now you can take the antifreeze. Remember, this is marine antifreeze or RV antifreeze. You cannot put car antifreeze into toilets and sinks, which is what we're about to do. It's an environmental issue, and you don't want to do that. So we're going to take the RV antifreeze, and we're going to fill up the toilet bowl, but we're also going to pour some into the sink. The reason we want to do that is there's a trap in the sink that's going to have water in it. That water is also subject to freezing, so we want to put the antifreeze in there to kind of push the water away and make sure there's a level of antifreeze. Now the saran wrap or plastic wrap, you want to take a bit of that and you want to cover the toilet bowl and you want to cover the sinks, the sink drains. The reason you do that is you don't want water evaporating. There's going to have to be a level of water in there. That's what stops sewer gases from coming back into the house. And if it's an estate and you're going to be away from it for a while, you don't want that house filled up with those gases. So the plastic wrap is what stops it. You cover the toilet, cover the sinkhole, and you should be fine. Now, if you have a boiler, a heater, for a hot water or steam system, meaning that hot water is going through the baseboards or through the radiators or steam, I highly recommend getting a professional out there to winterize that for you if you want to winterize it. But if you do want to take that on yourself, the first thing you need to do is find the peacock or bleeder. You want to open that up and back down to the heater again. You're going to use that hose we used for the water tank, and we're going to attach that to the heater. That should also have a spigot at the bottom so it can drain that system. Each radiator should have a bleeder on it to open up, but you probably only need to open up the one that's the farthest from the heater. If you're going to drain the heating system, that water can be pretty dirty, so make sure that hose is clamped solid on there and no leaks or anything. And again, this is where a hose clamp may come in handy. Make sure the water is going to be running to somewhere that's not going to be impacted by all the grease and grime, whatever comes out of there. And also, while you're doing that, if you're going to drain the heater and not use it during the winter, drain the expansion tank. They normally have one. It's some people call it a bladder. It's made of different material, but it usually sits right above the heater. When the water gets too hot and expands, that's where it goes. So don't forget to drain that too. The last thing is, walk the property and drain any hose bibs. Anything that's outside, even the ones that are the year-long hose bibs, you still want to do them because even though they're meant to not freeze, it'll extend the life of them. And again, when it comes time to sell the property, you don't want to get hit with a bunch of little stuff from a home inspector like hose bibs when you could have just drained it and left it open for the winter. Okay, now I'm going to give you the biggest don'ts. Number one, like I mentioned, don't use car antifreeze. It's an environmental issue. You can't put that stuff in your house pipes or toilet. Second one, don't drain the hot water tank by the pressure relief valve, which is up at the top. It's got a little handle thingy on it. Don't do that. That's not meant for draining. That's meant to be a pressure relief valve. If you monkey with it, it could break. When you fill the thing back up, could happen. And don't put antifreeze in the boiler or the hot water tank. Especially the boiler. Again, I'm going to recommend the Pro because that's a very expensive item and you don't want to have to provide that for someone buying the estate house. Don't shut off the sump pump. When you cut the power to all the pumps, we weren't including the sump pump, leave that on. Make sure that's running because you don't want to get a flood and have the sump pump not pump the stuff out of the house. Also, don't drain anything into the sump pump. It's not a good shortcut. Don't do that. I don't even know if it's, in most places, it's not even legal. So you're gonna don't get caught. The last don't is don't shut off the heater if you don't have to. You don't have to keep the house at 80 degrees. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money on energy. If the house is not being shown, 52, 53 degrees is more than enough to keep the pipes from freezing, keep boards from cracking, keep all kinds of stuff from happening. 52, 53 degrees is more than enough. If the house is being shown, then you kind of want to go 60, 62. People are going to come in with their coats, so they don't need it to be 70. It's like getting hit in the face. So 60, 62 if it's being shown, 52, 53 if it's not being shown. It's plenty. Hi, if you like this information but afraid you won't remember, look down below for a link where you can download a checklist that'll help you winterize a home. Please like and subscribe, and thanks again for watching.